Hello, Ordigger fans, and welcome to this week's installment of Mines MidWeek. We're joined by head men's golf coach Tyler Kimble. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Pretty good opening event to the season for your squad yesterday and on Monday at the Ryan Palmer Foundation invite. For fans that didn't see, the Ordiggers shot an 831 over 3 rounds, which breaks the RMAC tournament record by 4 strokes set by CSU Pueblo in 2011. Talk about your team's performance at the event.
Well, the boys brought it, definitely. It was right out of the gates, our first one. Typically that's a lot of times when we're playing our best golf. A lot of these guys are coming off successful summer tournament schedules, and I'd like to say it's what we expected, but sometimes it's hard to do what you're supposed to do, and they brought it. So I was real proud of them. This team's got a really nice mix. We took all upperclassmen. We had a couple freshmen that were close to getting into qualifying, but as it worked out, just down the numbers, sophomore was the youngest guy we brought. So they'd all been there, they'd all done it before. Every one of those guys had experience, and that was key.
Definitely. It's a great start to the season. I don't know if you could think of a better way to start.
No, I couldn't. You're talking about regional competition, and it's huge. So I was excited. Everything kind of hinged on that second round, and the boys brought it. We played a good first round. We just didn't know it was going to be an old-fashioned Texas shootout, and that's what it ended up being.
Exactly. Well, talking about the second round, you guys shot a 272, and that tied the RMAC record for lowest round in conference history. And on Monday, you guys started the round, and then it was stopped due to inclement weather. You guys finished it on Tuesday. So how did your guys keep from letting that stoppage of play affect them?
Well, unfortunately, what's been going on in Colorado, we've been used to that here, and it was no different down there. The fact that we had upperclassmen was key. Some of the stuff that might not have come out of your notes from the SID is we couldn't, the morning when we came back, we had to finish approximately 8 to 10 holes depending on where they were on the golf course, and we weren't able to hit range balls. We had to do it without even warming up, and it, unfortunately the way it works out is the ground's so hard out there, the driving range had turned into a lake. So the golf course wasn't even allowing it. And, I could hear some of the other teams going, "Oh, coach, how are we gonna start off our round without even getting hit any golf balls?" And, when you have a group of older guys, they just kind of chuckled at it and said, we don't really grind it out on the range prior to teaming up anyway. So it kind of played into our hands. It's something that they didn't even really care about, and for them to really close it out, and it might have helped us a little bit, the fact that all the teams stay at the same hotel. So we go back to the hotel and coaches talk, and we knew where some of the other programs were, and some of the programs were playing really well. We were too. We just started off with a weird stretch of holes where we essentially played our first 9 holes, and we played the toughest part of the golf course. The par 5s are very gettable, and most of the guys hadn't played one par 5 out of 4, except for Michael. He was the only one to start on a par 5, and so we knew that if we could get back out there and focus, we could put together a really good second round and our second 9, and they did, and they exceeded my expectations. I think we went from 500 or 600 par to obviously 16 under par. So as a team, we played our last 9 holes 10 under, and that was something I'd never seen before, and that's something that you're going to get when you have a bunch of upperclassmen, and you have a bunch of guys that know what they need to do, and they went out and got it done.
All right. I want to talk about Michael Lee real quick. He's the preseason RMAC Golfer of the Year. He was the RMAC Golfer of the Year last year, an All-American, and he opened with probably not his best 18, but his final 2 were about as good as you can get. Talk about his performance in the event. And for those of you that don't know, Mike ended up winning the medalist honors at the event. He chipped in on the first playoff hole to take medalist honors. So talk about Mike not only rebounding from the tough 18, but going into the playoff and bringing home the title.
Yeah, this is the first time I've ever had an actual All-American return. We've had them here at Mines, but a lot of times they're awarded that award when they're wrapping up. So it's really nice to have him back. And he's got a little chip on his shoulder. He finished Gallstat in the top 10 scoring average ranking. And for whatever the reason, the powers that be, they named him honorable mention, which if you were just going off the numbers, he probably should have been first team or second team.
Okay.
And there's no doubt, I mean, we weren't playing our best towards the end of last year, and that factored into it. But I do think he's got a little something to prove, and he's going to start showing it. He was a little frustrated that opening round. 73 is, there was a lot of teams there that would have taken that for their one. We were able to drop that score, and so he's just determined. It's his last year. He's taken on the leadership role of his team, which I knew he would. He's been captain now. This is his second year as team captain, and he obviously was the most determined. He shot 30 on one of the nines out there when he en route to that 65. So it was pretty impressive, and he leads by example. He wasn't happy with his first round, and he knew it. The rest of the guys knew it, and he was determined not to let that happen again. And that was the case.
And if he's determined to prove something this year, I can't think of a better way to start than how he did at the opening tournament. This last tournament, the Ryan Palmer Foundation invite, you guys had, there are 16 teams in the field, a lot of regional competition. So for you guys to do so well in that first meet, how's that going to affect your confidence going forward?
Well, not only is it gets our confidence high, but it sets us up. Last year we won the event, and quite honestly, after winning that event and then running into a couple of the Heartland and Lone Star teams, we never lost to a Texas school. In fact, in 2 years we still haven't in regular season play. So it catapulted us into the #1 regional ranking. Even though we ended up finishing second in conference and the automatic qualifier went to UCCS, we still entered as the #1 seed. And that's key. You're going in there and you're playing with the top schools from California. And if you set pace with those guys, odds are you're going to be one of the 5 that moves on to nationals. Didn't work out that way for us last year, but because of the foundation we laid in the fall and beating all those teams, it allowed us to keep that hold of that #1 seed going at the regionals. So I'm hoping that it'll do the same this year.
I think it's a good start. Talk about next week. You guys are going to open up the RMAC slate.
Yep.
The Fort Lewis invite, the first of 3 RMAC events. What teams are going to be there, and how do you like your team's chances going?
I like our chances. We're going to see the same teams pretty much we saw this week with the addition of Western New Mexico and UCCS. UCCS played a very good event out in Indianapolis. And Western New Mexico, just the way their schedule is in their warm climate, they stretch their season out a little longer now. So this is going to be their first start. They're good squads, traditional good programs in the conference, and the competition from them will be a little tougher than what we faced. And that's nothing against the RMAC now. There's some really good teams we've played against, but it's just RMAC. So it's going to be focused. It's going to be concentrated. It's more or less a little preview of the conference championship, and we kind of want to get back, on the winning ways in the RMAC. The guys still have a little bit of sting not winning the conference championship last year after winning the year before. So, I think it'll be another kind of chip on their shoulder and a way to maybe kind of reclaim some of that good play that we had 2 years ago.
All right. Well, Coach, good luck coming up next week at the Fort Lewis invite. Fans, once again, the Orediggers will head out on the road Monday and Tuesday to the Hillcrest Country Club in Durango for the Fort Lewis Invitational. That's all the time we have for this week. We'll see you next time.